Oh, thank you.
Can I tell you how much I love Reaper?
Yes,
And
please.
how much I love you on Reaper?
Yes, I loved Reaper too.
Can we bring it back?
Oh, I wish we could.
I still love him from RoboCop. I mean, who doesn't?
I loved RoboCop. I could have played Reaper forever.
Is this your? I'm guessing this is nowhere near your first Comic Con, is it?
I think it's my fourth or fifth or something like that. Yeah.
How's it been so far?
Oh, great.
Enjoyed meeting and interacting with
yeah. It's great to meet such enthusiastic fans. You know, really, and knowledgeable. They know your stuff. I mean, these people are coming up to me and they remember stuff I did 40 years ago, and that's 45 years ago.
Is that daunting? Do you feel like if you mess something up, they're going to call you on it?
Maybe a little daunting, yeah. Maybe a little, I don't know.
Stalkerish? A little creepy?
Yeah, that. But then realizing how long I've been doing it and how old I'm getting. That's kind of.
Yeah. So what appealed to you for Jim Gordon and doing Jim Gordon?
Well, it was a great script. I mean, the guy, that fella, just.
Brian.
Oh man. And of course I've been a big fan of Batman since I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I always thought that Kevin is the perfect Batman. Kevin will always be the epitome of Batman for me. Whenever he opens up his mouth, that's it.
Yeah. The thing about The Killing Joke is, though, it does go in different places than any other Batman story goes.
Yeah.
And specifically with Jim Gordon in terms of pushing him over the edge. How did you approach that in the script?
Well, it was very, some of the physical things that Jim Gordon was going through, I was trying to, of course, do vocally, And so it was a laborious process and one that was very demanding, and I had to make a lot of different noises and squeals and screams and grunts and groans.
Put through the ringer.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Did you guys all record together, or were you individually?
Oh, individually. Yeah.
Did that? I mean, you're an actor, so you've gone through this, and you know what you're doing. But was it hard because so many of the scenes are so intense and so emotional, and the characters play off of each other? Was it hard to do that, just sort of in isolation in the booth?
No, it's like everything else. You imagine it in your head, and actors are very good at that. We can.
Had you watched Mark and Kevin do Batman and Joker over the years in animation?
Yeah. I've seen them. Yeah, of course, and heard them. Yeah, absolutely. Mark is a great Joker.
Ray, we hear a lot of discussions about Batman's psyche and his mental state, but what about like Gordon, who's always been a constant ally and pillar for Batman to rely on for decades now. But like, what is his interactions, you think, with Batman and Joker? What is he stable himself? Is he hanging on as well as he can? I mean, what does it say about him that he constantly allies himself with Batman, and what that causes him?
Gordon is driven almost to the brink in this one,
right.
and emotionally, physically, in every other way. And I think the Gordon we see in this is very much more Gordon the father rather than Gordon the police commissioner. Right. He's the police commissioner in moments when he tells Batman that he wants everything done by the book, proper way, if it possibly can be done that way. But I think that he thinks it's probably not going to be able to be done that way. And the ending, you haven't seen it, of course, yet.
Well, I read the comic, but I haven't seen the movie.
Well,
compare the two.
The ending is,
Compare the two, the book and the. Did you read the book in preparation?
Yeah.
Beyond the script. Compare the two without spoiling, if you can.
That's hard.
Okay.
Our ending is a little different. Yeah, and I.
Oh, it doesn't have that moment with Batman and Joker.
Oh yes.
Okay.
But it goes a little bit further than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But what do you think it says about Gordon as a person, that in the comics he went through what happened here in this story, and then later on in his life, Joker comes back and murders his wife in cold blood. And Batman is almost driven to the point where I just have to end this guy, and Gordon's just like, no, that's not right. What do you think it says about Gordon as a person and as a man, that he keeps that integrity.
Well, yeah, I think that's it. He keeps that integrity. I think he's the penultimate man of integrity, and doing things the right way, the legal way, and the moral way.
Does he have a stronger moral backbone than
Batman? Yeah, I think maybe he does.
You think?
Sure. I think Batman is capable of a lot more than Gordon is.
And Gordon reins him in, do you think?
Yeah, and I think Gordon knows that, and is constantly.
So it's almost an essential part of the battle.
Yeah.
Did your take on Gordon? Did you look at other actors and how they played it, or do you know the characters enough that you felt comfortable playing Gordon?
Yeah, I saw the movies, and I like Gary Oldman. He's fine. But I'm not him, so I certainly didn't try to do an impersonation. I felt comfortable with the character, and I liked what was on the page. And you'll be the judge. You'll see it.
I think we got faith in you, man.
Ray,
we heard you were doing it.
have you been on a set recently with Mark Frost and David Lynch?
Sure.
Were you just saying hi?
Yeah. And on pain of death, I can tell you this. We have completed 18 episodes of the new Twin Peaks, all directed by Mr. Lynch. And they are being put together as we speak, and they'll be coming out, I believe, in the summer of 2017. So,
as a veteran of genre fiction, what do you think of the evolution? Because clearly we're at a place now that we've never been before. Do you feel that way as well as an actor?
Yeah, I think so. I think all the different venues now that we for our products, and Netflix and Amazon and all the internet, and how it's all these opportunities now for writers and actors and storytellers, and I think it has just opened up a whole new world, and especially for actors, the different way, I can do things with my voice. I'm basically a face actor, but I love doing things with my voice. So, in genre, they do remakes of things now, and some of them are okay, some of them I don't like so much. I didn't need that RoboCop remake, I can tell you that.
Thank you.
No one did that. No one did.
I didn't need
I'm the only person who likes that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Ray, it's just like Laura Palmer said, I'll see you again in 25 years. Do you think David did this on purpose?
You mean was it a master plan?
Yes.
No, I think I think he goes more off the top of his head a little bit more than that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Tara, I guess some of the bigger changes to this story involve Barbara Gordon and Batgirl's role in the story. It's a 360 camera.
Oh, hi.
See, look. I'm remotely controlling the camera view from the phone.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I just noticed a sleeping child.
That's thrown you entirely now, hasn't it?
And now she's out.
I guess, were you familiar with Batgirl's original role in the original story? And a lot of people have been critical of that role in recent years. And I guess, what did you think of that role and how they made those changes and incorporated it into the classic story?
Well, I'm a huge fan of it because I feel like now Batgirl's the star of this movie. And it's so well written that the extra scenes are a seamless addition to the comic, and it almost feels like when you're watching it that it was all part of the same original story. It's so geniusly crafted with the writers and the animators and all the actors involved. I put on my Twitter, I think it's my favorite Batman anything I've ever seen. I just think it's so well done, and I can't imagine anybody being critical of how they portray her after they see it. I mean, people are always hoping it adds up to the hype that people have it, and they're not disappointed. And I don't think anybody will be disappointed when they see it.
Did you read the original book?
No,
You didn't. So all you know really is
all I know is
this interpretation.
And part of that was nice because when the moments were happening, I didn't know they were coming, so I was on this emotional journey with her.
Yeah.
In retrospect, before coming here, I wish I had read it.
Sorry, Mike, you're a little bit tired of being asked that question.
No, I'm not. You're one of the few, but it's obviously important to know everything. But for my journey as the actor portraying Barbara Gordon, going through all these things, I almost feel like it was better to not know where it was going and then really feel those emotional moments with her.
How old is Barbara in this, do you feel? And generally speaking, I'm not looking.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say 20s.
Okay.
I'd say early 20s, yeah.
With this story specifically, what was important for you to bring to the character? Like that maybe we haven't seen
Well, I would say for sure an authenticity with everything she goes through as an adult. It's really the first animated version of her I've done where she's a woman. And it's kind of been organic to my journey playing her. You know, when I first moved to town from Toronto, I'm playing Batgirl alongside of Hamill and Conroy, and I was totally starstruck and pinching myself. And then having gone through the years together, it was sort of just like no time had passed and suiting up, but at the same time, a lot has happened in my life. I'm a mom now and certainly gone through a lot. So it's just the darkest she's ever gone, and the darkest I think any of us have ever gone. So for me, it was just more like staying true to all those moments and things that she's going through. And when I'm performing those scenes, I'm picturing them in my head and imagining all those things. So sometimes you'll see, if you're watching an actor session, they'll be moving their arms or doing different things. And I was certainly tearing up during some of the scenes, and it's really emotional.
What was your reaction to reading the script? Because this Barbara Gordon is different to pretty much every other Barbara Gordon.
She really is.
And it goes so far.
Yeah.
Even in the comic, way far. And we haven't seen it yet, so we don't know how far it goes in this, but it's
way
pretty
far.
good. What was your reaction to reading this? Certainly from off the back of Batgirls, where it's just straightforward action kind of.
I'd say it was shocking. I can honestly say it was pretty shocking. I mean, she does things we've never done together before, and gone places she's never gone before. And
was that a challenge?
I'd say the biggest challenge for me would be just in hopes that the people that are real fans of the comic like what we did and like this interpretation. But in those moments, I think I really just zone out and picture where I am, so I don't think of it as like, was this a harder scene to do or was this not? Because I'm really like in those moments, and then looking back at it, it's like, oh, I hope people respond to it.
Tara, you have some very interesting perspectives because you played, Barbara Gordon Batgirl, but you've also played Harley Quinn in the Arkham series, which takes Harley into some very deeply weird psychological place where she's so obsessed. She's equally obsessed with the Joker, and like at one point she convinces herself that she's pregnant with his baby, even though she was never really pregnant. She created like a false pregnancy in her mind. So, I mean, do you have this perspective of like maybe even understanding how you can both simultaneously love and despise the Joker?
Well, I think for Harley, and it's part of the reason people love her so much, is her undying devotion to this sociopath. Like, no matter what he does, she's completely in love with him, and the loyalty is off the chain. And so I think people are really attracted to her raw, authentic, emotional pull that she has with him, being that it's such a challenging relationship. I also cried when I was doing that. Spoiler, when the Joker dies, I was like... and it's awfully fun for me because Batgirl's probably the closest thing to my own voice that I ever do, and Harley is not. Thankfully, if I talk like that all the time, I'd probably have no friends. And they're so opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, she's just like I always tell people, like, I go in and get all my frustrations out playing Harley. I had a session last week for a new game, and the director was like, I'm not ready for this at 9 a.m. Like, then I've done my job right. So it's definitely fun, and I feel really lucky to have been able to play both iconic
I
characters.
especially enjoy those moments in the Arkham games, like where like the goons actually start hitting on Harley, and Harley's like, "What are you're trying to move in on the Joker's turf?" Great stuff.
Thank you.
Kevin and Mark have said that this might be their last call as Batman and Joker. Is this your last call as
I think they're all full of poo on that.
Mark
You
has
can quote
said
me.
that about 20 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you didn't go into this thinking this might be the last one for you?
No way. Mm-mm. Hopefully it's the start of a whole new one. That'd be great.
That would be great news. It's good story. It's supposed to be more right in this movie. So how much more will we see of Barbara Gordon?
Well, I mean, it would be amazing if this sort of spawned a new series that continued from there, and I'm sure after the fans see it, they're gonna want that. And you know, if we go into Oracle and all kinds of different places, I think it would be really exciting and certainly something a lot of fans could relate to, and just to have a role model like that would be amazing. That'd be cool.
Are you planting any seeds for a Birds of Prey kind of?
I think that'd be great.
Excellent.
I'm sure I don't have any original ideas that they all haven't thought of. I just want them to do it. That'd be fun.
Put the pressure on.
Yeah.
Is there a character beyond Batman? Is there a character that you just not your favorite, but that you just really enjoy going back to?
Well, for sure Batgirl, for sure Harley. You know, once you create a character in animation, you really feel like they're a part of you, and they live up here and they come down to make their appearances, so it's always wonderful to go back to characters. It's certainly heartbreaking when you're not going back to a character and someone else's, especially when you molded that character. So I feel very lucky to still be playing Batgirl after all this time.
How about the evolution of the tension now to this kind of animation compared to when you started with the character? You know, way back
I think social media is such an amazing platform for fans to say how much they love us, and then for us to know how much we mean to them. I'm sure my predecessors have no idea how many lives they touched, but when you come to cons and you see people saying, you know, Raven got me through my parents' divorce, or Batgirl got me through my depression, or whatever it is, and you realize how much you touch people's lives, I think it's really gratifying, and I feel very grateful for my generation to have that, and just knowing like how much the fandom has grown for animation and how much respect the entertainment industry has for animation, and all the celebrities that want to do animation. And even video games, when I first started out in gaming, they didn't care to hire a quality voice director or what actors were going to be on, and now games are like film, so it's really changed a lot, and I think in a good way.
Tara, on any level, like Andrea Romano used to talk about how she finds the Batman character very sexy, and Kevin Conroy's voice is Batman very sexy, but in playing Harley Quinn, on any level, like, do you find the Joker attractive or magnetic in his own way, or do you see why Harley would be attracted to him?
Of course, he's my pudding. That was the dumbest question all day.
But what about you, Tara?
Well, yeah, because it's Hamill, right? How are you not attracted to that kind of talent? That's just, that's a talent crush right there.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
When you started to write the screenplay for it, what was the most important thing from the book that you wanted to carry over? Because you couldn't, I mean, I don't know if you could do everything with the time that you had, the running time of the film.
Actually, we had to add some stuff to it.
You did?
Oh yeah, I mean that's 48 pages. You know, that was, maybe we would have got a little bit more than a half hour out of it. So no, it was definitely the challenge was adding material to the Killing Joke that seemed like it was always in the Killing Joke.
The material that you added, though, how do you think fans are going to react to it? Because it's such a classic
What do you
story.
mean? Come on, you know how they're going to react to it.
Yeah.
Some are going to like it, and some are going to hate it. That's, I mean, that's just the way it works.
Fair enough.
You know, as long as they react to it, that's all I care about.
Brian, in recent years, this story has gotten a lot more controversy and criticism for the way it depicted Barbara Gordon's role in the story. Do you think any of those criticisms, that have come up more in recent years, due to women's depiction in comic and superhero comics and stories. Do you think they're valid, or I mean, do you think they're misinterpreting the work? What are your thoughts?
I think they're valid, and it's something that we addressed. That's why the first third of the film focuses on Barbara Gordon. It's all new material. That, because she was there to get shot in the original, and I think that stuff, just as we're looking at story structure, coming at it from comics, all you guys read comics, you know who Barbara Gordon is. There's a certain shorthand that exists in your mind, and it doesn't bother you. But if you don't know who that character is, and especially in a movie, it really stands out. Like, she's just there to get shot and then to cry in the hospital. All she is the daughter there. So it was something, it was fleshing out that character was something that was very important to us.
This is a hard R story.
It's all right.
Yeah, and are you satisfied with how far you were able to go? I mean, where do you think the line was?
They told Bruce, Tim, and Alan Burnett told me don't pull any punches, and in fact push it, which is what I did. So yeah, it's definitely tonally it's very faithful to the original.
Does it have to be an hard R, do you think? Could the story have existed without going that distance in terms of
it wouldn't
as a
have,
filmmaker?
I don't think it would have been the same story. No. I mean, the pivot point in that story is hard to take.
Yeah.
And if you soften that,
Sure.
it really changes.
It is truly the one bad day.
Yeah.
And this is really one of the most iconic Batman stories ever. I was wondering if you ever saw that, they sort of ripped this story on South Park once, and just sort of how iconic.
No, I never saw that.
There was a thing on South Park where they kind of made a whole parody of that moment where Gordon's trip on the train ride. That scene was basically reconstructed in South Park as a gag. So I guess, what do you think of what is it about this story that makes it so iconic and classic that it's sort of it's part of the lexicon. That it becomes pastiche later on.
Well, it's so well constructed. I mean, and it is. Joker has a point. Joker's point is, I can understand it. That we're all him, save for one bad day.
He's almost not, the typical Joker for utter lunacy. It's almost a very sane approach to sending someone over the edge. I think that's the menace that comes across in the story. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Dini recently said that the Joker isn't insane, that he's very calculating, and he knows what he's doing. And it is kind of, how's your interpretation?
No, he's crazy. I don't agree with that at all. No.
And where's Batman in the story right now? Where do you are they?
He's crazy too.
When you started writing the story, I don't know if Kevin and Mark were attached yet, but how much were you hearing their voices? Because their voices are so iconic in those roles at this point.
No, I didn't do that.
Not at all.
Not at all. I'd sit there in silence.
Just
all I hear is myself because I'm talking this stuff through.
What is your Batman like? Do you just go lower?
A little, yeah, and slower, lower and slower.
You enjoy doing animation, man? Or this is your. I don't know how many you've done so far.
Yeah, I've done it. It's not. No, I enjoy it. It takes a lot longer though.
Why?
Because there's a lot more steps involved. I mean, it doesn't take any longer for me.
Or whatever
I love writing a script, and 3 months later, a book's out. That's great. This was like write the script, and 2 years later,